Chapter 57. Ladies and gentlemen, and all the rest of you, Warble begins. Tonight you are witnessing a great event in history. Your life will change based on the new business and scientific process which I will unveil and reveal to you tonight. Life on this planet we call Earth gets better as of this hour. You will proudly recount all the details of what you will hear here tonight to your grandchildren and great-grandchildren. When these, your progeny, ask you, "Who is that man depicted so gloriously in that 314-foot-high statue there?" you will be able to proudly reply, "That is the illustrious Warble P. McGorkle, a great, magnanimous, and selfless philanthropist who made life as we know it today possible by means of the most ingenious invention of all time." Before I reveal to all of you here, Warble gestures toward the curious crowd, and all of you out there in television land, he points to the camera, exactly what it is to which I am referring, I will first provide you with some background information. Many of you have heard it said that you are what you eat. This is true. Not, of course, in the sense that if you eat a kumquat, you become a kumquat. Not in that the masticating and digesting of a fruit salad turns you into such a tasty dish. No, you are what you eat in the sense that the combination of everything you eat determines who you are as a person. Your personality is formed and altered by the DNA in the animals, vegetables, and minerals that you consume. That is all well and good, you may say, and sounds logical enough, but what does that have to do with the price of coffee in Costa Rica? Well, friends, the answer is absolutely nothing. But what we've got here is a failure to communicate, that's all. And I'm going to fix that right now by telling you about the amazing opportunity that you will henceforth have. My new company, Biotrans, will make available to you, dear consumer, the chance of a lifetime. Warble pauses, allowing his last statement to sink in and anticipation for the next to build. When you were a kid playing basketball, did you ever utter the desire, "I wish I was Michael Jordan"? When you took piano lessons, did you ever say, "If only I could tickle the ivories like Jerry Lee Lewis"? And you women out there, tell me you haven't secretly said, "If only I could make a souffle like Julia Child." Warble pauses again, surveying the crowd. All eyes in the house are fixed on him. Some of the eyes' owners are seemingly mesmerized. Others are apparently dazed and confused. After tantalizing them with his pregnant pause for several seconds, almost to the point of embarrassment, Warble presses on with his coup d'etat. "Friends, Roman Catholics, and countrymen, as well as citymen, lend me your ears. You can be Jerry Lee Lewis. You can be Julia Child. You can be like Mike. In fact, through the simple and painless ingesting of a single pill, 3.14 times the size of a children's aspirin tablet, you can be anybody you like, living or dead. From Attila the Hun to Zorba the Greek, and everyone in between, from Anne of Green Gables to Zwingli, or anyone else you have ever envied. Yes, friends, and so forth, it's true. For a price, the details of which will be explained later, you can, through the miracles of the modern science of biometrics, take on the personality of anyone who has ever lived. It's your choice. You make the call. No fear. No limits. No boundaries. Just say no to no. Now maybe you're wondering, to what other uses can this technology be applied? Well, I'm glad you sort of asked. Here are just a few of the ways Biotrans product and service can be used to benefit mankind. 1. Police SWAT teams will be able to round up street gangs and force-feed them Gandhi and Mother Teresa pills, which will mean the end to crime and drugs in our streets. 2. Prison wardens will be able to keep their prisoners in line and under their thumb by grinding up Mr. Rogers pills and putting them in the problem inmates' porridge. Prison rights will thereby be made a thing of the past. 3. Parents will be able to have the child they really want, not some ungrateful spoiled brat, by purchasing Wally Cleaver or Little Orphan Annie pills. 4. Miss America wannabes can guarantee success in their chosen endeavor by purchasing pills of people with the most pleasing personalities. since everyone knows that it's personality that plays the pivotal role in winning that particular contest. Besides these more obvious and dramatic benefits to mankind, even those of you who make use of our service to fulfill a desire to be like someone else will ultimately benefit mankind tremendously. How, you ask? Because when you are able to lead the life you always wanted, you'll be happy. A happy populace means a productive populace. A productive populace improves the economy and thus not only their own lot in life, but also that of everyone else. The upshot of this is that eventually everyone will be able to afford our service, and the happiness and productivity will just continue to increase exponentially. All the jerks in this country will choose to be nice, well-rounded individuals. All the ne'er-do-wells will trade in that trait for a new set of better ones. It's a win-win situation. As the great philosopher Bruce Springsteen said, nobody wins unless everybody wins. And in this scenario, thanks to me, remember, we all win. Warble sees he has them. The audience is enthralled, transfixed, mesmerized, or in the case of some of them anyway, just plain confused. Now, without further ado, let me explain the price structure of Biotrans service. The price for the pill we will custom manufacture for you depends on two basic factors. 1, whether the person you choose is currently living or not. And 2, how much will it cost us to purchase the same type and amount of food they ingested in their life, or up to a certain point in their life. Let me explain that last point. Say you want to be like Orenthal James Simpson when he was playing football, running through airports and drinking orange juice. We would have to pay X amount for the food he had eaten up until then. But if you want to be like OJ today in his golf-playing, road-raging days, it will cost more because he has eaten a lot more between then and now, and we will have to expend X plus N to acquire those foodstuffs. Warble notices that the eyes of many in the audience are beginning to glaze over, and so he shifts gears. That, all you fortunate people, concludes the initial portion of the press conference. How much time remains, Maestro? Warble asks the lady in charge of the camera crew. 5 minutes, Mr. McGorkle, she says. Warble snaps. His fingers, that is. Look, lady, get it right, will you? It's McGorkle. And he spells it out for her. At that, all of the reporters in the audience busily scribble into their notepads, grateful for the verification of the spelling of Warble's last name. All right, Warble continues, we have 5 minutes left for questions from the audience. One of the reporters from Coeur d'Alene High School's paper, Viking Vibes, raises her hand. Yes, miss? Warble asks. When a customer or client or subject or patient or whatever you call it, beneficiary, Warble interjects, nodding. Okay, when a beneficiary makes use of your service, do they take on the appearance of the person they admire? Good question, Warble commends her. Bad answer, she shoots back. Shut up, you didn't let me finish, Warble says testily. He clears his throat and straightens his tie. No, that would be not only very painful. Remember that scene from Inner Space where Jack turned into the cowboy? But also impossible. Remember, that was a movie, not real life. The beneficiary acquires the personality of the person only, not their physical appearance. In other words, their psyche changes, not their physique. The girl tries to ask another question, but Warble is still miffed at her and shouts her down. You had your turn, you microphone hog. Give someone else a chance. A man from the Coeur d'Alene Press raises his hand and Warble calls on him. Mr. Flowers? Mr. McGorkle, how are you able to ascertain what foods dead people ate? Especially those people who lived thousands of years ago, such as Attila the Hun. In order to avoid a reprise of the rude retort, Warble doesn't commend the quality of the query. Rather, he just answers the question without preamble. We can ascertain that data from a single strand of the person's hair. All we've got to do is pay some wino to dig the old geezer or geezerette up, snip off a lock of hair, examine it with our super high-powered microscope, and voila! The beans are, so to speak, spilled. The reporter follows up with a second question. Earlier, you said that part of the cost is determined by whether the subject was living or not. Why is that? It's a legal issue, Mr. Flowers, Warble replies. I probably shouldn't delve too much into the particulars. I'll leave that to our corporate lawyers. But I can tell you this. We don't have to pay license fees to the dead people. The living subjects will probably, in most cases, charge us to reproduce their personality. The greedier they are, the more it will cost us, and we will be compelled to pass that cost on to our customers. Of course, if the greedy person also happens to be very popular, economies of scale will come into play. What this means is that if enough people pay to take on Jay Leno's personality, for example, he could be cheaper than Floyd the Fix-It Man. This is the case because even though Floyd signs up with us for, say, just to name an odd figure, $31.41, and Jay Leno charges us, for instance, 100 times as much, the Fix-It Man may only have 1 or 2 admirers. This means that after our charge for shipping and handling, a mere 31.4% of the license charge, prorated, plus 62.8% of the foodstuff costs, the Jay Leno pill may be very attractive price-wise in comparison with the relatively obscure toaster repairman. A bright-eyed youngster in the audience shoots up his hand, and so excited is he about asking his question, grunts each time he thrusts his hand into the air. "That young whippersnapper in the Spider-Man costume," Warble says, pointing to him. "Who are you?" the boy asks. The question confuses Warble. He hasn't exactly made a secret of his identity during his presentation. The boy sees that Warble doesn't know what he means and rephrases the question. "Whose pill did you take? Who are you now?" Warble now comprehends, but is a little taken aback. Why would he want to be someone else? "I, young man, am myself, Warble P. McGorkle. As I am perfect in every way, for example, completely lacking in avarice, a paragon of politeness, and the very picture of humility, there's no reason I would ever need to or want to adopt the personality of a lesser mortal. In fact, Warble McGorkle pills will be available at a deep discount due to my strong desire to see a better society. If you purchase tonight, you can receive a pill that will infuse you with my personality for a cheap at 3.14 times the price of $31,415.93. The camera crew informs Warble there is only 1 minute remaining before they must pack up. There's only time for one more question, Warble informs the assembled crowd. An elderly lady in the audience, who has been watching the entire proceedings with a blank expression, Warble thought she was probably simple, now raises a withered hand. "Yes, Granny?" Warble asks. "I'll granny you, you menace to society. What's to prevent someone from using these pills for evil ends? For example, kidnappers could purchase Lizzie Borden or Dennis Rodman pills from you and then threaten to feed them to the kids they nap. What's a parent to do but cough up the cash in a situation like that?" "Let me put you at ease, ma'am," Warble says with a phony smile on his face, struggling to remain polite. "We will never sell to criminals. We will require from each potential customer a completely filled-out application form where they must affirm that they are not former convicts, future convicts, IRS agents, or game show hosts." A look of relief floods the old lady's face. "Well, why didn't you say so from the get-go? Bless you for that, sonny." Warble beams at the triumphant culmination to the press conference. Looking out of the corner of his eye to make sure the camera is on him, he sets his jaw, plasters his best Gary Cooper look on his face, and turns his best side camerawards. The lights click off and the camera stops whirring. So ends the press conference. Warble resumes his natural demeanor and descends from the platform and into the arms of an adoring public. How Warble gets home that night is really of no consequence whatsoever in the unfurling of this tale, so the rather mundane details of that particular circumstance are omitted.